Welcome back, my dear homemakers. This is our little corner where we figure out how to live with less clutter and a little more calm one day at a time. The other day, I came across a video by a Japanese woman sharing how she keeps her home feeling light, warm, and peaceful without being overly minimal or sterile. Her home wasn't fancy or styled to perfection, but every corner felt breathable. The dining table was clear, the kitchen counter wasn't crowded. Every drawer opened easily to reveal only what she actually used. And then she said something that made me pause. I don't want the things I don't use to end up using me. That line stuck with me. Later that evening, I opened the drawer next to my desk, the one I toss all the random bits into, and I knew exactly what she meant. So today's video is for you if you've ever wanted to live in a home where you're not shoving things into closets every time someone drops by. You don't get irritated by a random corner but can't explain why. You stop forgetting things just because everything's a little too chaotic, and each day feels a little more orderly, a little more peaceful, even if the house isn't perfect yet. I'm sharing 10 subtle forms of clutter that quietly drain your energy and how to clear them in simple, low-pressure ways. No full home overhauls, no dramatic before and afters, just small shifts that make a real difference. There was a time when I thought the only way to feel calm was to clean the whole house, but honestly, sometimes all it takes is closing just one loop. I'm not talking about deep cleaning your kitchen or organizing your entire closet. I mean the tiny nagging things that sit in the background of your brain. I need to toss that bag. I should go through that box tomorrow. I need to find a place for this. Each of these is like a mental tab that stays open, quietly draining your attention. And the more tabs you have running, the more tired you feel, even if you haven't done much that day. I remember opening a cabinet to grab a pair of scissors and spotting a paper bag I had stuffed there days ago. It had some random bits in it, a snack I hadn't put away, a couple receipts, something I meant to gift someone, nothing dramatic. But every time I opened that cabinet, I felt a twinge of ugh. That day, I finally dealt with it. I didn't clean the kitchen. I didn't reorganize the whole cabinet. I just pulled out the bag, sorted it, and either tossed or put away what was inside. 10 minutes later, my kitchen didn't look much different, but my brain noticeably quieter. That's when I realized not everything needs to look better. Sometimes it just needs to be done. And finishing even one lingering task can silence a voice in your head that you didn't even realize was shouting. So if today feels heavy, don't start with the whole house. Start with one tab, the one that's been mentally blinking at you every time you walk by. Close it, let it be done, and let yourself feel a little lighter. Because exhaustion doesn't come from what we haven't done. It comes from what we keep remembering we still need to do. And speaking of lingering tasks, there's one space that quietly builds up stress more than almost any other, the kitchen. You think it's clean until you peek behind the fridge drawers or notice that sticky spot under the stove knobs. In my next video, I'm walking you through the real step-by-step of deep cleaning these hidden spots. It's messy, honest, but strangely satisfying. Don't miss it, especially if your kitchen feels cleanish but never quite fresh. Some days, it's not the big messes that wear you out. It's the tiny delays that sneak into every task. Everything just seems to take longer than it should. Finding something to wear adds 5 minutes. Making coffee means clearing a cluttered counter first. Opening a drawer, that's a whole mini project. And when every little thing drags just a bit, it doesn't take long before the whole day feels out of sync. For me, one of those silent time wasters was a drawer full of chargers and cords. Every time I needed one, I'd end up untangling cables and digging through stuff I didn't even use. I remember one morning I needed to charge my phone and couldn't find the right cord. It shouldn't have been a big deal, but it genuinely annoyed me. Not because of the cord itself, but because of how much energy I lost over something so small. That evening, I gave myself 10 minutes. I didn't try to make it perfect, I just made it easier. Tossed what I didn't use, coiled the cords I needed, divided them into 2 trays daily and rarely. And just like that, one of the daily stress points disappeared. If your day feels constantly off rhythm, pick one. Spot the one that keeps slowing you down. Maybe it's the place where you toss your bag, where your keys vanish, or where clothes tend to pile up. You don't have to reorganize your life. Just adjust this one thing so it stops stealing your time. Making your space work with you, not against you, is one of the simplest ways to feel less rushed, less scattered, and more in control. Next, we'll look at a type of clutter that doesn't trip you physically, but quietly drains your mental energy. We've all done it, told ourselves, I'll just set this here for now. But that jacket, that book, that shopping bag, somehow stays there all week. One time I came back from the store with a few small things, tissues, tea bags, some canned goods. I left them on the dining table thinking I'd put them away after dinner. 3 days later, they were still there. Not exactly messy, but the table wasn't clear anymore. Every meal I had to nudge them aside just to make space. It was such a small annoyance, but it chipped away at my calm. Just for now, clutter isn't really about stuff, it's about hesitation. It tricks us into thinking we'll come back to it soon, but we rarely do. And before you know it, every corner holds something for later, and later never comes. So now I follow a simple rule. If something is in my hand, I ask, where does this live? And I put it there right then. No delays. If it doesn't have a home yet, I spend 3 minutes making one. Sometimes that's just repurposing an old box and adding a label, but after that, putting it away becomes automatic. These tiny completions matter. Each time you finish a task, instead of leaving it half open, it's like closing a mental tab. Your brain doesn't have to keep track of yet another unfinished thing. Clutter isn't always about storage space. Sometimes it's just about making one small decision to deal with it now, not later. And if you find yourself constantly placing things in the same spot, even though you know it's in the way, maybe it's not about habit. Maybe it's emotional. Let's get into that next. Feeling drained by clutter isn't always about quantity. Sometimes it's just one single item that reminds you you're not doing enough, not living up to what you once hoped. I had this gorgeous leather notebook I bought when I thought I'd start journaling every morning. You know, coffee in hand, peaceful music, a little time for reflection. I wrote in it 3 times. That's it. And every time I opened the drawer and saw it, I felt off. Not because it was messy, but because it made me feel like I had let myself down. It whispered, "You're not who you said you'd be." We all have things like that. The blender for daily green juices, the candle making kit from lockdown, the self-help book you stopped halfway through. These aren't just items, they're little reminders of who we thought we'd become. And when we're not that person, those things weigh more than they should. So instead of pushing myself to earn the right to keep those items, I started asking, do I still want to be the person who uses this? If the answer is no, I let it go. Not because I failed, but because I've changed. And the person I am now doesn't owe anything to the version of me who bought that thing 3 years ago. Everything we keep tells a story about who we are. Make sure the ones you keep are stories that feel kind, not heavy. Now that you know how to recognize those emotional energy leaks, let's move on to a tip that helps you make decisions without overthinking every single item. Sometimes you find yourself just standing there holding an item, not because it's useful or special, but because you genuinely don't know what to do with it. I once spent way too long deciding whether to keep a chipped ceramic mug. It was a gift pretty to look at, and I liked how it felt in my hand, but it wasn't really usable anymore. Every time I tried to throw it out, I felt guilty. But keeping it just sat there doing nothing. I stood there turning it over for 10 minutes, and I realized the problem wasn't the mug, it was the loop in my mind. Eventually I learned a trick that helped Instantly, instead of asking, should I keep this or not, I started asking, if I didn't already own this, would I choose to bring it home today? That one shift made the decision clear. Almost instantly, I could see if I truly needed it or if I was just holding on to guilt. I started using that question for all kinds of May items, almost used candles, mismatched food containers, souvenirs that no longer felt meaningful. Looking at things through the lens of today made it so much easier to let go. Decluttering shouldn't feel like emotional bargaining. Sometimes all it takes is a better question to finally see what belongs and what doesn't. And now that you know how to break through decision fatigue, let's tackle a whole other kind of clutter, the kind you can't touch but definitely feel information: clutter. Not all clutter lives in drawers or on the floor. Some of it hides in your phone, your inbox, your head, and it quietly drains you all day. One time I sat down to clear off my desk, and then my phone buzzed. Group chat, delivery app, a random ad. 15 minutes later, I was scrolling, and I completely forgot why I even sat down. That busy but nothing done feeling stayed with me all afternoon. It wasn't that I had too much to do, I just had too much trying to get into my brain. Info clutter isn't just junk or spam. It's the 8 videos you saved to watch later, the 5 unread emails, the 3 reminders you never wrote down. Little things, but together they crowd your mind like too many browser tabs open, slowing everything down. Here's what I do. Now I close 1 mental tab a day, delete an app I don't use, unsubscribe from 1 email, write down a task instead of carrying it around in my head. You don't need a digital detox, just one small release at a time. Your home might look clean, but your mind could still feel chaotic. Decluttering isn't just about stuff, it's about giving your brain room to breathe. Next, we'll shift back to physical clutter, especially one kind that looks helpful on the surface, but secretly makes cleaning harder. Some things aren't broken or ugly, in fact, they still work. But they quietly make your home harder to manage. I used to have a small plastic bin in the laundry room just meant to hold a few items I needed to sort. But over time, it became a dumping ground for I'll figure it out later stuff. A nearly empty spray bottle, a bent hanger, a single sock. Every laundry day I'd have to move it, dig through it, or clean up after it. Once the detergent leaked and soaked everything inside, it wasn't helping, but I kept it because it wasn't trash. That's what I now call useful clutter, the stuff that still technically works but doesn't actually serve you. We hang on because we don't want to waste things and end up wasting time, space, and energy instead. The shift for me was setting a new standard. Working isn't enough. It has to be in use and make life easier. If something takes up space, adds extra steps, or makes cleaning harder, it's not helping, no matter how usable it is. Since then, I've let go of so many of those things: cardboard boxes, just in case, water bottles that are a pain to wash, spice jars that never sealed properly. My cabinets are clearer, my routines are smoother, and I don't silently resent those items anymore. Clutter isn't always junk. Sometimes it's the well-meaning, half-useful things that slowly wear you out. Coming up next, we'll talk about a simple way to start decluttering without diving into the hardest spots, so you see progress quickly without feeling overwhelmed. Most of us think I'll clean when I have a whole day and I'll tackle the worst spot first, but that's exactly how we end up giving up. I've lost count of how many times I planned to finally clear out that overstuffed cabinet, and every time I'd stop halfway exhausted. It was always the same awkward angles, mystery cords, dusty corners, random lids with no containers. After 30 minutes, it barely looked different, and I already wanted to quit. Eventually, I realized if I want to feel like I'm getting somewhere, I have to start with what's emotionally light. Not the spot with the fewest items, the one with the fewest decisions. That could be a shelf of expired spices, an old drawer of random lids, or just clearing a countertop. I call these quick wins. They don't take long, but they give your brain a boost. Just like a 5-minute stretch makes your body feel better, even if you didn't do a full workout. These small victories make it easier to keep going without feeling overwhelmed.
Don't start where you feel most stuck. Start where you can finish fastest so that today you actually finish something. Next, we'll talk about a common kind of clutter that many women hold on to, the just-in-case items that quietly pile up. Before we get to the final tip, I want to share one type of clutter that's incredibly common but easy to ignore, the things you no longer love, never actually use, yet still hold on to, just in case.
I used to keep an old backpack in the back of my closet. The straps were worn, the zipper snagged, the style no longer felt like me, but I didn't throw it out. Not because I liked it, but because of that familiar thought, what if I need it someday? Years passed and that someday never came. Every time I packed for a trip or a picnic, I reached for a different bag, something easier, cleaner, better, and still I kept that old one. Eventually I realized keeping things just in case is a fear-based habit, not a practical one. Because most of the time, if something is inconvenient, outdated, or uncomfortable, you're not going to use it even if a situation comes up. You'll still go for something that fits your life now. So I changed the question. Instead of asking, might I need this one day, I started asking, if I needed this, tomorrow would I choose to use it? If the answer was no, I donated it. No hesitation, no guilt. You don't need to keep everything to feel prepared. You need room to feel at peace. And that starts by letting go of what you're only holding out of fear, not intention.
Now let's head into our final tip one that deals with a kind of clutter tied to memory, but quietly keeps your mind from truly resting. Before we get to the final closing ideas, here's one last clutter that's not about things. It's about the stories you attach to them. Some clutter isn't physical. It's emotional weight that lives in your head every time you walk past a box you should sort or an item you kept because it reminded you of someone or something. It's that tiny voice in your mind that says, I'm keeping this just in case it helps me remember, or I'll deal with this feeling later. And before you know it, your space feels heavy, not just with stuff, but with meaning. I once kept a stack of old greeting cards tucked in a drawer because each one reminded me of someone I cared about. I thought keeping them was a way of honoring those moments. But every time I opened that drawer, there was this little pinch, like an unfinished chapter, tugging at my attention. One afternoon, I realized I didn't feel lighter when I saw them. I felt like I hadn't moved on.
So I changed the question I was asking myself. Instead of, will this help me remember, I asked, does holding on to this help me live now or just keep me paused in the past? If it didn't help me live more freely today, I gently let it go, not with guilt, but with gratitude for the memory and space for peace.
Clutter isn't always about what's in your hands. It can be about what's in your mind. Letting go of the meanings you attach to objects can create room inside you that no cleaning cloth ever could.
And now that we've talked through these 10 ways clutter quietly drains you from the physical friction points to the emotional weight, let's take a moment to bring everything together and set one intention you can start with today. So we've just walked through 10 subtle types of clutter that drain your energy and how to clear them without needing to overhaul your entire home.
If you're looking for ways to make each day feel a little lighter, less mentally crowded, just pick one tip from this video to start with. Just one, that's enough. I also have a separate video that breaks things down room by room, the kitchen, bedroom, closets, to help you declutter without overwhelm. You might want to watch that one next. And if this video made things feel even a little bit easier, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe so we can keep building a home that truly feels good to live in. Oh, and before you go, one more thing. The kitchen deep clean video I'm releasing next, it's the one I wish I had years ago. We're going deep, like behind the fridge kind of deep. I'll show you how to clean spots you probably haven't touched in months or years without making it a whole day event. It's short, practical, and weirdly satisfying. If you've ever wiped your counters but still felt like the kitchen was off,
this is the one to come back for. Set a reminder because once you see it, you won't want to unsee it.